Hey everyone, so this is Married at First Sight, Season 9, Episodes 4 and 5. Episode 4 is called Don't Kiss on First Wedding Night. And basically, the entire episode is comprised of a few things. Um, First, you saw them, spend their first night together as a married couple. Then you saw the individual people go meet their spouse's in-laws solo, meaning they were just by themselves, obviously. And then you saw them pack and then go to Antigua for their honeymoon. Most of the episode was really about the people meeting their in-laws for the second time. The first time, obviously, being at the wedding itself. But I do want to note that the next morning, none of the couples had, or it was revealed that none of the couples had sex with their respective partners. And I still feel like the whole Jamie and Elizabeth sexual tension thing is really all they have going for them. They don't really seem to talk about much of anything else besides how much they have sexual feelings for their partner, and that's really about it. The other couple seem to actually, I mean, while yes, they feel sexual energy towards their partner, they don't seem to focus on just that. They seem to actually talk and get to know one another and actually find things that they have in common. Whereas Jamie and Elizabeth, like pretty much almost every single confessional that you see about them with just them, it's all you hear is that them talking about how they have sexual energy for the other, and that's really about it. And it's like, is that all you really have to offer for one another? Is just have sexual tension? So it's like, I don't know. I feel like that's the only thing they have going for them, and of course, because of that, I don't think they're gonna really work outside of the 8 weeks if they even get that far, because or if they had gotten that far, I should say, because this is obviously a few years later, or like a year later or whatever. But I don't think they're really gonna get. They did. I really don't think they got that far as the eight weeks if they did, because they only seem to have gotten out of this experience sexual tension for their partner. And that's it. They don't seem to really talk about anything other than how sexually attracted they are to each other, and that's really about it. And I mean, the only thing that they talk about, like, one thing outside of having sex, and that's in episode 5. So I'll get to that later. But other than that, I think the only thing of note that's not part of the main topic is that I feel like maybe Keith is possibly pandering to Iris with the whole "I'm not rushing into things," meaning sexual wise, speech. I feel like maybe it is a bigger deal than he's actually letting on, but that's just a feeling that I get from him, not necessarily Iris herself. I just feel like, I don't know. It just something seems weird about what he said and kind of his facial expressions when he said it. I just kind of feel like maybe he's just not that he's not that okay with waiting, which is, I think, kind of I don't know, but yeah, but maybe I'm projecting my own feelings onto it, because maybe I'm just feeling some type of way about it, but I don't know. I mean, that's just my initial feelings on it. Anyway, so well, there's also another thing that kind of is talked about before the couples meet their spouses in laws for the second time. Amber asks Matt why he didn't invite his parents to the wedding, and why he was going to do Married at First Sight. And we find out, I don't remember if it was like in the actual first episode or if it was episode 2, but essentially, he says that his parents, 2 years prior to this being filmed, had gotten a divorce, and by the way he keeps explaining things, it ended very badly, and that's why he hasn't necessarily talked to his father for the past 2 years. His mom, he doesn't say much about whether or not he talks to his mom that much. I mean, maybe he does, but he doesn't say so. And he was on the fence about telling his mother about doing Married at First Sight or not. And Amber is worried that he didn't tell his parents because family is obviously important to her. But while I understand that, I also understand that if things ended badly with him and his parents, specifically his dad, regarding the divorce, I mean, I can understand why he wouldn't want this whole Married at First Sight experiment is something that they reconcile over. So, because it's, I mean, as we've seen in the past, this particular sort of, situation is a hot button topic, and parents might not necessarily agree with it and or want their child to go through this process. So reconciling over the divorce with this might not be the best way to go about it. So yeah, I understand where he was coming from. Okay, so going into the couples meeting their in-laws again, we first see Elizabeth meeting Jamie's family, specifically his stepmother Barb, his father James, and his mother Barbara. What struck me the most about this whole scene was Barb, the stepmother, didn't really seem to like Jamie, because we didn't really see her saying much to Elizabeth. So that may have just been the way editing happened, and they wanted they wanted Elizabeth to really be seen talking to Jamie and Barbara. But I don't know, something about her whole vibe was really kind of making me think that she doesn't really like Elizabeth. So that was just me, personally. Now, going to Jamie, this is where I had a lot of issues with that particular episode, specifically Elizabeth's father, Ronnie. Jamie obviously, feels some type of way about Ronnie basically saying to Jamie at the wedding reception that, I'm not going to be paying for stuff anymore, but here's a little something to help you out in the meantime until you start paying for everything. I mean, that's basically what it sounded like and came off as, and Jamie didn't really like that and found it very passive aggressive. And I'm not really that mad at him for feeling like that, because I feel like that was kind of a valid concern. So I understand why he was concerned, because just talking to Ronnie at that lunch the day after the fact, Ronnie keeps saying shit that's just like, what? First and foremost, Ronnie asks Jamie if he will change his last name to Jamie's like maiden name, and Jamie's like, well, I don't necessarily want to do that right now. I mean, maybe in a few weeks I might feel differently, but as of right now, I don't want to. And Ronnie was like, he was not having any parts of that, and I was like, okay, first of all, I mean, while I don't necessarily think that every woman should change her last name to her husband's name, it's tradition where the woman is supposed to take the last name of her husband. She's not supposed to take her maiden name or stay with her maiden name. And her father should fucking know that, considering he's fucking married. Like, he's fucking married, and he should know that. So it's like, and he's saying it under the guise of, well, our last name is shorter. Like, so fucking what? You know, traditionally, the man's last name is given to his wife, and the wife takes on the last name, and that is her legal last name now. So it's like, okay. And then Ronnie then also takes issue with Jamie just saying the words that we laid in bed, and that was it. Like, it was clear that Jamie wasn't meaning that they were laying in bed and having sex. It was fucking clear. And yet Ronnie was like, oh, I'm having such a hard time hearing you say the words lay with my daughter. It's like, dude, that is not what he meant, and you know it. And he's just clearly, at this point, he's finding any and every issue he's finding any and everything that Jamie says as a reason to fucking hate him. At this point, yes. And it's like, I really wanted to just chuck something at his fucking head, because I was like, at this point, you're just no. At this point, you're just being fucking ridiculous. At this point, you're being fucking ridiculous. At this point. So, and to be honest, I thought I was going to have more of an issue with Jamie himself, specifically because the production keeps putting whenever Jamie's name comes on screen, they always put underneath his name Mr. Picky. So it's like, I mean, I thought I would have more of an issue because of that itself, and because even he himself said that he's picky. So it's like, I thought I would have more of an issue with Jamie because of that in and of itself. But I'm actually, you know, at this point in the episodes that I've watched, up until this point, like, I was more on his side than anything else. So I was just like, ugh, run far, far away, because at this point, that's not, you know. And then, of course, it got, you know, instantly awkward after Ronnie was like, had the big conniption fit over just simply saying laying with Elizabeth, and that was it. Like, and then it got even more cringeworthy when Elizabeth's mother was like, well, Elizabeth has a heart of gold, and then her father straight away just says, well, Jamie can't have it because it's mine. Like, the fuck are you doing? At this point, just throw the whole fucking father away, because I'm just like, shut up and leave my screen, because I'm tired of you. I'm fucking tired of you. I'm just so tired. So that was really my main concern with the entire fucking episode, because I was like, at this point, her father is acting completely fucking ridiculous. And it's clear to me that Elizabeth's mother has put up with this her entire fucking marriage. Her entire marriage. And she's learned to just accept it and, you know, just learn to deal with it. And it's like, I would have been out after like 6 months of fucking dating. I would have been out. Because it's like, I mean, I feel like by 6 months you can tell how someone acts. And, you know, that, I mean, there's no way he could have hid that for more than 6 months. So it's like, I feel like after 6 months I would have been like completely done and just like left. But otherwise, it seems like every other person who went to meet their husband or wife's in-law or parents seemed to get along really well with them. Obviously, some of the parents were like, or some of the fathers specifically, were like, well, I am protective of my daughter, but I'm trusting you to be, I guess, guardian of her heart and her life and her specifically and all that. So, which is understandable. So, which is I get. So it's like, and they didn't say it in a way that was just like, that came off as wrong to me. I felt like the way they presented it was really respectful and was said properly to me. So, which is why I'm not really gonna talk about any of the other couples as far as meeting the parents. So basically, after everyone meets their spouses in-laws again, they get back home, start packing for Antigua, and then go to the airport to get on the plane. Going into episode 5, or what's labeled as episode 5 on Netflix anyway, it's called Stranger Love in Paradise. So, it's the morning after they get to Antigua, and we find out Amber and Matt had sex. And Elizabeth is very jealous of the fact, later on in the episode, because we hear that, or we see that they're talking about their sex lives and what they expect of sex and the marriage. And she's very jealous of the fact that Amber had sex for her, because Amber got her period on, right when they get there, basically. So she's just jealous about that fact. And then Elizabeth says, well, they talked about having matching tattoos, and I'm just like, but why though? Like, you just met this man and you're already talking about having matching tattoos. Like, for me personally, I would never get a tattoo with a guy's name on it, because I have no idea if the relationship is going to work out. I'm putting my faith that it won't end, but I mean, you never know what's going to fucking happen. So it's like, I'd rather not get a guy's name tattooed on my body anywhere, or any reference of him on my body, in the off chance that we don't end up together, like we don't stay together. So that's, I mean, yeah, so that's just me. But and while the girls are, talking to each other about sex and what they expect, I'm glad Iris doesn't use the fact that Amber and Elizabeth either have had sex or want to have sex with their husbands really against them. I'm happy about that fact, and I really like that, because I was more concerned with Iris and her and Keith's relationship, because of the fact that I felt like she was continually bringing up the fact that she was a virgin. So I'm glad that she's more of the type that doesn't, make that an issue with all the other wives. One of the big, or probably like the biggest thing of this particular episode, is that after playing volleyball with the other couples and spending some time alone with the other wives, Elizabeth upset because Jamie left her alone for 2 hours without telling her where he was going to go. And when she took a shower, or after she took a shower, she went and ate lunch by herself. And so she was concerned about the fact that he just up and left without telling her where he was going. And honestly, I get it, because, I mean, how are you just gonna, I know we're newly married, or they're newly married and all that, but like, you can't even tell me where you're gonna go and how long you're gonna be away. I mean, the dude was gone for 2 hours. Like, maybe it was shorter and, a shorter time than what she thought it was. But I mean, you take 2 hours to have lunch. Like, I don't understand. You take 2 hours to have lunch, and you don't even try to come find me. Like, I mean, well, yeah, you don't know where I am, or because according to Jamie, he didn't know where she had gone off to because she had just gone to go take a shower, and um, so he assumed that she had gone off by herself to do something, and so it was like, but yeah, it would just seem like a all the way around just like, miscommunication, Elizabeth said. So anyway, so we see Iris and Keith swim with stingrays. Amber and Matt go on a tour of Antigua, and then Deanna and Greg go ziplining. And then Elizabeth asks Jamie while they're having, I guess, lunch or dinner or something. I don't remember what time of day it was, but she asks him if he wants kids, and he tells her he's leaning more towards not having kids, and they both come to the conclusion that they will revisit the topic of kids later because they don't necessarily want kids right now. I mean, it's not completely off the table, it sounds like, but I mean, at the moment, they don't want kids. So, I mean, I'm glad that they at least talked about something other than the sexual tension they have for each other. I'm glad they did that because, like, I was just like, if that's the only thing y'all have in common with each other and y'all can talk about, then y'all really ain't gonna fucking make it happen after the 8 weeks. Y'all really not going to. So, anyway, so it's looking like in the preview for the next episode, Matt might be leaving to play basketball overseas again. And Amber's like, well, that's going to be a deal breaker to me if that happens because like she said, how are we going to make it work if you're fucking like 2,000+ miles away? Like, how are we going to make it work? Because you're all somewhere else, and I can't just upend my life and take time off of my job because you chose a profession that takes you away from the fucking States. So, but honestly, I don't think that's going to happen. I'm predicting that right now. I don't think Matt's going away. I think it's just a fucking smokescreen to create drama, personally. So, yeah, I don't necessarily believe that's what's gonna happen. It's just made to look like it will happen because, it's just to create drama and all that shit. So, but otherwise, that's all I have. And then I'll try to get episodes, what are episodes 6 and 7 for me, up in the next day or two. Otherwise, I'll see you guys later.